Did you know that apple pie is racist, and those who enjoy it are guilty of food injustice? If that sounds outlandish, it is. But just consider how the New York Times featured a story blaming homeowners for having green lawns. That's right, your beautiful lawn is now racist. Then we have math wars. What's that? Well, school teachers who expect their students to provide correct answers in math class are accused of promoting white supremacy. So what's fueling this bizarre racial conflict? Critical race theory, or CRT. This theory makes race the prism and center of every aspect of life, and its promoters are rewriting history, science, economics, and sociology according to Marxist class struggle. That's why I hope you'll watch this video and help me convince every American, especially every Catholic, to oppose critical race theory, because we can't allow Marxist lies against God to rip our country apart.
So when you talk about critical race theory, which is pretty much going to be teaching kids how to hate each other, how to dislike each other, that's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You're going to deliberately teach kids, this white kid right here got it better than you because he's white? You're going to personally tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down to suppress. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed? Yeah. How do I get 2 medical degrees? No mom, no dad in the house. Work my way through college. You gonna tell me somebody that look like all y'all white folks kept me from doing that? Are you serious?
Reason 1. Critical race theory is Marxist. Critical race theory is toxic because it uses the false Marxist premise of class struggle. It divides society into 2 categories of oppressors and oppressed, and pits them against each other in constant strife. By encouraging conflict, unrest, and bitterness, this theory makes social harmony impossible. Obviously, society isn't made up of 2 hostile categories. As the Catholic Church teaches, society is formed by an enriching variety of groups. And when those groups unite in the same worship of God, the source of all harmony, Christian civilization is born. True progress becomes reality. Reason 2. Race is not the only prism. Critical race theory holds that race is the sole prism or lens to understand history, economics, sociology, science, and other aspects of life. This erroneous view excludes God, virtue, and the spiritual needs of the soul. While race may be one prism to see reality, it can never be the only prism. Many other modern theories made similar mistakes. For Marx, it was the economic prism. For Freud, sexuality was the only prism, but no single natural discipline can explain the higher purpose and meaning of life. The Catholic Church, however, provides this universal vision. She teaches that God and His revelation are the supernatural prism through which a true universal worldview is possible. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the light. The Church is the infallible interpreter of revelation, and she teaches, governs, and sanctifies all peoples and races in the one true faith. Only virtue and supernatural grace give rise to social harmony, not Marxist revolution. Reason 3. Culture never cancels free will. Critical race theory holds that cultural beliefs and social structures are imbued with racism and determine the fate of societies and individuals. CRT further claims that oppressors can do nothing to rid themselves of their supposed biases because subconscious codes of instructions supposedly determine the behavior of the oppressors, even when they want to do the contrary. And so, CRT calls to dismantle all societal norms through relentless criticism until all power systems have been replaced or destroyed. But the idea that culture determines destiny is false because we have free will. All individuals have free will, and people can change. With effort and God's grace, a poor sinner can become a great saint. Reason 4. CRT wants a revolution, not reform. Like all revolutionary theories, Critical race theory doesn't want the reform of present society, but its destruction. It claims that all governing and cultural structures are tainted with racism. Because racism is supposedly systemic, CRT further claims that all institutions can't be redeemed or modified. They can only be destroyed. In contrast, wherever the church has gone, she seeks to remove the harmful practices and structures that destroy society and ruin individual lives. Unlike Marxist-style revolt, the church elevates and enriches cultures and works for the sanctification of all peoples. Reason 5. CRT attacks logic and reason. Critical race theory falsely declares that science, reason, and logic are white ways of knowing things. They claim that Western thought is racist-tainted, that science encodes and perpetuates white dominance, and thus must be rejected. According to critical race theory, counter-stories, storytelling, and narratives are far more important than facts and truth. Although storytelling has its place, it can't be the foundation for whole systems of thought. Without logic and reason, society would fall into crude and savage tribalism. That's why the church has always sought to cultivate reason and logic as a means for interpreting reality. In fact, the first universities came from the church's development of reasoned thought. Wherever the church has gone, it's established educational institutions and vanquished superstition. The church affirms the role of the intellect and free will in our development and sanctification. The Catholic worldview is fundamentally contrary to CRT's skewed, fatalistic, and deterministic view. Reason 6. No God, no charity. Critical race theory is based on identity politics. This perspective sees the nation as a boiling cauldron of victimized groups oppressed by the dominant white racist culture. Like all Marxist activism, it seeks to fan discontent and inflame resentments. Individuals are encouraged to think in terms of intersectionality, whereby they can claim to be oppressed in many ways by identifying with more than one social group, race, gender, or class. In the egalitarian world of critical race theory, Christian charity is not welcome because God has been dethroned, banished, and banned. However, the virtue of charity brings people together cohesively and harmoniously in true and perfect unity. When charity rules, individuals become self-sacrificing for the common good. They love their neighbors as themselves for the love of God.
Those who want harmony and peace among the human race should look to the traditional teachings of the Catholic Church. You will find a view of humanity informed by the love of God. You will also discover the easiest, best, and quickest path to harmony among the various races and ethnicities.
We can follow one of two paths, the sublime path of Christ or the hateful way of Marx. The difference between one path and the other is the distance between heaven and hell. Which path do you choose?
Please like this video and feel free to post a comment too. Thanks for watching, and God bless.